course.
10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2.
Welcome to the Monday, May the 6th, 2024 work session. Madam Clerk, will you please take the roll for the record?
Yes, sir. District 1 Commissioner Ricky Dobbs is absent. District 2 Commissioner Whitney Kenner-Jones.
Present.
District 4 Commissioner Vice Chair Mark Alcaraz.
Present.
Chairman Phil Miller is absent.
And just to clarify for the public, since there is nothing being voted on, we can still hold this work session, correct, County Attorney?
Yes, that is correct. I think it is appropriate to go forward with the work session. Even though we are going to be discussing county business, it is being done in public. And there are going to be no public votes, no decisions made by the board, which you cannot do in the absence of a quorum. But I think for purposes of meetings, just to review what's on the agenda, what's coming up for tomorrow, I think it's fine to proceed.
Okay, thank you, County Attorney. Is there any additions or changes that need to be made to the agenda? If not, the agenda stands approved as presented. Just a reminder, each commissioner will have 3 minutes for remarks and 2 minutes for rebuttal. Madam Clerk, do we have anybody signed up for public comment?
No, sir, we did not.
We must be doing a good job. That's a lot here recently. Okay, we will begin with our presentations. Director Harley, in regards to the Next Generation 911.
Good morning, Vice Chair, Commissioner Kenner-Jones, County Administrator, Assistant County Administrator. Good morning. So about a month ago, I was included in a meeting with the Georgia Emergency Communications Authority, and they fall under the Georgia Emergency Management and Homeland Security Agency, or GEMA. And so all of the 911 directors met to discuss legislative updates as well as Next Generation 911. And so we were tasked to come back to our communities to begin the conversation around Next Generation 911, what it means, what it looks like, and what it is. So what is Next Generation 911? First of all, it replaces the analog infrastructure of 911 that's been in place since the first 911 call was placed in Haleyville, Alabama in 1968. So currently what we have is what's called legacy infrastructure. The interesting thing about it is that the telecommunications companies will not be supporting this legacy infrastructure forever. So it's not a matter of if, it is a matter of when we will have to migrate towards Next Generation 911. One metaphor that they used is just think of your old landline telephones and what you could do with those. So typically you could call, you might have two-way calling, you know, and you might have like call waiting. But pretty much that was it. And think of Next Gen 911 like a smartphone, where you have all of these different apps, and you can have a whole group of people on a phone call. You can FaceTime, you can text, you can do so many more things. And so that's kind of the metaphor that is being used to describe what is Next Generation 911. So what are the benefits? It increases caller location accuracy that is reported to a 911 center. So in 1968, of course, we had all landline phones. Now, the National Emergency Numbers Association, or NENA, states that over 80% of our 911 calls are from wireless devices. Current 911 also doesn't always pinpoint the wireless caller's location, which oftentimes delays response times. Also, those that we serve expect 911 to communicate how they communicate, and that's via voice calls, photos, videos, and text messages. Now, currently in Douglas County, I want to clarify that we are already there with regards to text messaging And we also have an application that the Board of Commissioners approved this year with Carbine, so we can already see those videos. But the purpose of the discussion is because not all 911 centers are created equal, and we would like to be able to streamline those services, because currently within our own 911 system, our operators operate off of 6 computer screens and about 18 apps per day. So it increases compatibility with emergency communications trends. It improves emergency response for public and first responders. Next Generation 911 keeps up with the emergency technology. And it increases the redundancy and resiliency of the 911 system. So currently, if our 911 system were to what we call go down, our calls would be routed to Cobb County or Carroll County. With Next Generation 911, it opens up where those calls could be routed to. So, what is the solution? It is called has 2 names. So some folks refer to it as ESINet, and some refer to it as EZINet. And what it does is it provides a dedicated 911 infrastructure for emergency communications that's dedicated just for emergency communications. It provides efficient call routing to the dedicated PSAP or public safety answering point. So basically the call goes where it's supposed to go. And it increases redundancy and resiliency when we experience this, if we ever should experience call overload, natural and man-made disasters, and other situations that could overwhelm or impede our daily operations. And lastly, EZINet can be interconnected to form a network of emergency communications networks. And it ensures that the 5 nines are available, and that's meaning that the uptime is guaranteed at 99.999% that 911 will always be up. And it's shared by all public safety agencies. So, funding, and that's the big one. EZINet requires a significant upfront investment. For our purposes, I did have AT&T pull some numbers. We're not there yet, but I just wanted to let you all know, because like I said, it's not a matter of if, it's a matter of when. We're a few years away. But right now, the one-time charge to set up for the GIS onboarding and for the hardware and monitoring, the professional services and the core services, that charge is $69,932. The monthly charge for EZINet is $24,549. So there are already about 5 Metro Atlanta 911 centers who have already migrated and are in the process of migrating due to several factors. Number one, EZINet costs are contingent upon population. And so these numbers that I provided this morning are based on what Douglas County's population looks like today. And so those numbers will increase as our population increases. And complete migration takes about 3 years. So once we begin to start the process, it takes about 3 years for complete migration. It is not a quick solution. So the state is trying to work to offset those costs, which is the reason why they asked the directors to come back to their communities to talk about the funding. And so the Georgia Emergency Communications Authority is working with the state of Georgia because, again, not all 911 centers are created equally, not all funding is created equally, and quite frankly, some jurisdictions just cannot afford the next generation solution. And so they want all of our stakeholders to know what this is, what it's costing, and to also let you know that they are working hard to try to offset some of those costs. But they are not quite there yet. They are not even close, but they wanted, of course, us to begin to start to have the conversations. Any questions?
Is there any, I guess, opportunities being looked at for federal funding or assistance to go with this as well?
Yes. So the states are looking at the federal government to assist, because, like I said, it's not a matter of if, it's a matter of when, and you know, it's something that has to be pretty much compatible throughout the state. I know that North Carolina and Alabama already have the statewide solutions with EZNet, and so Georgia is looking to do that as well.
And you said that the price changes as the population grows. Is there like markers with that, like every 10,000 people, 1,000 people, that the price increases?
Not necessarily, because there's pretty much only about 2 or 3 companies that can even provide the solution. So they are pretty much setting what this is going to cost.
And so I assume that this is an internet-based solution. What happens if there's ever, I know you said there's redundancy built in, but if the internet is down, it's a, you know, statewide issue or countywide issue, what is the built-in backup to make sure that this still continues to work?
That's an excellent question, because that is kind of the sole purpose of EZNet, so that pretty much if there is a roadblock and say Douglas County's internet infrastructure goes down, well, the system would recognize that and immediately push those calls out to other folks. And so that's why you know, EZNet is being built as the next generation 911, because currently you have some municipalities that go down and they may stay that way for a while, and those calls pretty much just stay in a bubble. And so this prevents that from happening.
I don't know.
Will this integrate with the sheriff's office dispatch as well, or do we have to look at the same system for the sheriff's office?
It does and it does not. So Douglas County 911 is the county's public safety answering point. And so anytime anybody dials 911, it comes into our county's 911 system. And so it's not necessarily anything that the sheriff's office would necessarily need, because the 911 calls are not fielded through the sheriff's office.
Okay. I was just making sure, because I know sometimes it gets turned over to dispatch at the sheriff's office. I just want to know if there was any type of integration or anything we had to do with the sheriff's office once those calls are sent over to their dispatch.
So, no,
Okay.
not necessarily.
Okay. Anything else?
I assume that this would also need, I guess, a heightened level of security, since everybody's information then would be housed digitally or electronically. Is that something that would increase you all's cost, or is that something that's already built in?
It's already built in.
And would we need any kind of increased servers or processing that might increase the cost at a later date? How would that work?
The system is designed to not increase those costs, and that's why the monthly fees are so expensive, because this fee is separate of our call handling system, and so this would be in addition to.
I don't have any other questions. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you.
All right, thank you.
Commissioners, be ready to approve the minutes for the commission meeting of April the 23rd of 2024, the work session minutes of April 22nd, 2024, and executive session minutes of April 22nd, 2024. It seems we have quite a few proclamations that will be tomorrow. Is proclaiming the month of May the 24th as Older Americans Month in Douglas County. We also have a proclamation for proclaiming the second week of May 2024 as Youth Mental Health Awareness Week in Douglas County. Another proclamation for proclaiming the month of May 2024 as Mental Health Awareness Month in Douglas County. And the last proclamation will be proclaiming the week of May the 6th as National Economic Development Week in Douglas County. We will now begin with our agenda items. Madam Clerk?
Yes, sir. Under grants, we have number 8, approval of an amendment to the AG 2335 grant with the Atlanta Regional Commission as subgrantor for the ARPA grant in the amount of $331,000 with a match of $19,860 to be funded through Connect Douglas's department budget to provide transportation to the aging elderly 65 and older, and authorize the chairman to sign all related documents pending final legal review. Ron Roberts.
Morning, Vice Chair, Commissioners, Administration. In 2022, we got this original ARPA funding. This is the second amendment for that funding that has come forward for us to extend it through September. And we are definitely going to use it. We have been using it very well, and we will continue to do so. I sent the amendment over to Tara Evans and Cheryl Ringer for their approval. It has been through legal. The funding is in our budget, and we recommend that we accept this money and start moving some seniors.
Okay. Any comments?
And I assume that this would be just to assist in increasing routes, updating buses. What specifically?
It's for, we use it for the actual transportation, so it goes towards our voucher program, which we have 12 private vendors that work with the county. So the seniors are able to use this funding for the vouchers to cash those in with those individuals.
I have no other questions.
All right.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay. Number 9, approval of an amendment to ARPA grant AG 2337.2 with the Atlanta Regional Commission in the amount of $268,008 with a local match of $16,080.48 to be funded through Senior Services current budget, and authorize the chairman to sign all related documents pending final legal review. Consuela Gilchrist.
Good morning, Mr. Vice Chair, Commissioner Kenner Jones, Administration. Exact same scenario as Director Roberts, except it's for home delivered congregate, kinship, and homemaker services.
Okay. Any questions?
Thank
ma'am.
you.
Okay, we'll begin with our business items. Number 10, approval of a memorandum of understanding with Vision to Learn for the purpose of operating a mobile vision clinic at the Dog River Public Library, Douglas County Public Library, and Lithia Springs Public Library for low-income students at no cost to their families, and authorize the chairman to sign all related documents pending final legal review. Lindy Moore.
Good morning. I do want to make one amendment. This is for all students. It's not just for low-income students. It's available for all students ages 5 through 12th grade, where they can come in, get a free vision screening, and if needed, they can get their glasses for free as well. The glasses would come a few weeks after the screening, but everything is free. There's no income limit. We have one date at Douglas County Library, one date at Dog River, and 2 dates at the Lithia Springs Library. We're encouraging everyone to sign up quickly before those dates fill up.
And would this come with the certification that parents need when they are enrolling their kindergarteners, and then they have to update it in, I think, 3rd grade and 6th grade, the DD 3300 form?
I would assume that it would, but I can verify that and have that. Make a note of that. But yes, this program has been around for several years. It's very popular in Cobb County, and we've been petitioning to have it here in Douglas County for about 2 years, and we finally got the approval a few weeks ago.
Okay. Any other questions, comments? Okay. All right.
Okay.
Thank you.
Also have the next one.
Number 11, approval of a memorandum of understanding with Reading Pause to allow children to read with local therapy dogs at the Lithia Springs Public Library at no cost to the county, and authorize the chairman to sign all related documents pending final legal review. Lindy Moore.
We have this program going at now all 3 libraries with various other therapy dogs. It's a wonderful program. Oftentimes, children who are hesitant to read with adults find comfort in reading with the dogs. Dogs are non-judgmental. They sit and they're great company to read with. So this is just updating the MOU that we had, I believe it was from 2019.
Okay. Any questions, comments? Okay. All right. Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you.
Next is number 12, authorization to execute an agreement of services contract with iWork to be utilized by DOT maintenance in the annual amount of $23,500 and one-time setup cost of $15,500 to be funded through the DOT's department budget, and authorize the chairman to sign all related documents pending final legal review. Solomon Rana, and I think he has changes to the amounts.
I do. Good morning, board and administration. There's a minor correction to the dollar amount listed. The annual contract amount will be $25,000 with a one-time setup fee of $8,000 for a total of $33,000. So DOT currently uses a software called Cardiograph for internal workflow purposes. It tracks our records related to pothole repair, road repair, and emergency clearing efforts. The software is now obsolete and requires a replacement. iWork offers a consolidated workflow platform that combines pavement, signals, and signs into one. It also has a citizens engagement module. And through implementation, our goal will be to try to achieve a paperless status for our entire maintenance operations. Lastly, this was the most cost-effective option out of the 2 proposals we reviewed, and that's why we're recommending this for your approval. Any questions?
Okay. Comments, questions? No. Thank you, sir.
Okay, number 13, approval of a resolution of support with the county's application for federal funding for transportation projects in connection with the Atlanta Regional Commission's FY 2025 call for projects, committing to a required 20% local match in the amount of $14,250,000, and authorize the chairman to sign all related documents pending final legal review. Solomon Rana.
Every 2 years, Atlanta Regional Commission solicits projects from local governments that could be funded through federal spending bills. This year, we are proposing 4 projects with a combined value of $71 million. The required local match, if granted, will be $14 million and some change. This will be for projects from fiscal year 25 all the way to 28, with phases and projects spread over the next 4 to 5 years. The 4 projects are Lee Road Extension, construction for year 28, trail from Boundary Waters to Fairburn, which is phase 1 of an 11-mile trail connecting Boundary Waters to Sweetwater Creek State Park, Chapel Hill widening, and multimodal accommodations on Riverside Parkway. I'd welcome any questions.
Questions, comments?
None.
Okay. All right, sir. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Number 14, approval of a contract with Train Incorporated for maintenance of chiller plants for the Douglas County Sheriff's Office beginning May 1, 2024 through April 30th, 2025, in the amount of $10,716.02 to be funded through the Sheriff's Office budget, and authorize the chairman to sign all related documents pending final legal review. Lieutenant Colonel Pounds.
Good morning. This is just the yearly contract we have for service and maintenance for our chillers that actually keep the refrigerant cool at the sheriff's office. And it is, what's that number, 10,000 and?
Yes. $10,700.
$10,716.02.
And it is coming out of our budget.
Okay. This is the same as it was the previous year? Or
Yes,
did
sir.
they go up a little bit?
Yes, sir.
Okay. All right. Any questions, comments?
And I assume that this is the same contractor that you've used previously?
Yes, ma'am.
And did you submit, or did you seek proposals from anybody else? Was this the best?
I'm not sure, but I can get back with you and let you know. But we've been using Train for several years, and it's just been the standard practice to stay with Train. But I'll get back with you.
Thank you.
Mhm.
All right. Anything else?
No.
All right. Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Okay. Number 15, approval of a change order with Hussey Gay Bell in the amount of $156,714 for additional design services due to an increase in scope from a 3-bay to a 4-bay fire station for Douglas County Fire Station Number 9 to be funded from the 2016 SPLOST, and authorize the chairman to sign all related documents pending final legal review. Chief Allen.
Good morning, Vice Chair, Commissioner Jones. This change order is for Husky Bell, where it has an increase in the scope and construction costs, so that's why we're asking for this change order.
Okay. Just a quick question. What drove the change in this, in the design of the fire station?
So we originally moved from a 3-bay fire station to a 4-bay fire station due to the work and everything that's going on in that section, where we're looking at a ladder truck engine, a ambulance, and a heavy rescue of some type to run out of there, whether a heavy rescue or a hazmat vehicle.
Okay. All right. Any questions, comments?
None from me.
Okay. All right. Thank you, Chief.
Thank you.
Thank you. Number 16, approval of an annual intergovernmental agreement renewal with the Department of Public Safety for lease of space on the Douglas County Radio System Network at a rental rate in the amount of $1 for 12 months ending June 30th, 2025, and authorize the chairman to sign all related documents pending final legal review. Katrina Harley.
Good morning once again. The Department of Public Safety has historically rented space in the amount of $1 annually for their repeater to occupy space at one of our radio systems network towers. There's currently a 10-mile radius on the Interstate 20 corridor where there is a lack of radio coverage for Georgia State Patrol when they are patrolling the area within Douglas County. And so the repeater that's housed is a standalone repeater and owned by the Department of Public Safety, and allows them to be able to communicate on the radio network without any issues.
Okay. Comments, questions?
Seems very expensive.
Thank you.
All right. Thank you.
Number 17, preliminary plat approval for Park West subdivision. Phil Schaefer.
Mr. Vice Chair, Chairman Jones. This morning we have a 41-lot subdivision off of Highway 5. This one's several years in the making. It came to us originally in 2022, and we went through a number of iterations with them on the rezoning process. The address is 4291 Highway 5. It's in the transitional corridor. There was some discussions originally with the developer and the neighborhood that was behind them, which was worked out over time. And once the rezoning was issued, we spent most of 2023 reviewing the plat and going through some of the design iterations. And so now it's finally come back to us that it's met all the criteria for approval, and so the Design Review Committee has recommended certification of their preliminary plat.
Okay. What size lots are they looking at for this subdivision? It's 41 lots.
These are on sewer, so they'll be 10,000 square foot lots.
Okay. All right. And approximate sizes of the houses?
Approximate minimum 1,800 square feet at
1,800.
least.
Okay. All right. Any comments or questions?
And there won't, will there be any impact to the fire department's ability to service that area?
The fire department signed off on the plat already, so.
And the sheriff's department as
Yeah,
well?
and the sheriff's department.
And there's no, what's the, I guess, proposed impact to the schools in that area?
So the school board doesn't sign plats, but the impact is approximately 15 students if you use the multiplier 0.3, 68 students per dwelling, or 20 students if you use 0.5 students per dwelling. Those are the two factors that are national. So you really have about 4 students, 3 to 4 students elementary, 3 to 4 students in the middle school, and 10 to 13 students in the high school range. So it's an impact, but it's a minimal impact. That was covered when we were doing the rezoning process.
And is there going to be any impacts or improvements needed to the road infrastructure because of this coming?
So the entrance will be off of Highway 5, and yes, there will be DOT mandated improvements to get in and out. And then all of the roads serving the lots will be interior.
And is the developer paying towards any of that?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So this looks like it connects to another subdivision on the back
No,
side.
it won't connect. That was one of the discussions we had during the rezoning. Original design had some connection through there, which might have helped the existing subdivision be able to communicate with Highway 5 more easily than where they're going now. But they were adamant about not allowing it to connect, and so the developer was required to put a no-access easement across that right-of-way in the backside. So there's a 10-foot no easement, no-access easement.
Okay.
I have no further questions.
All right. Thank you, sir.
Okay. Number 18, authorization to approve a credit application and agreement with Lift One to purchase a Calmar Ottawa T2 yard dog truck in the amount of $147,078 to be funded through the landfill department's budget, and authorize the chairman to sign all related documents pending final legal review. Heath Cowart.
Good morning, Vice Chair, Commissioners, County Administrator, Madam ACA. Yeah, this is, I just need the board's approval for, and a signature for a credit app. This is the Yard Dogs, the truck that we lost. It's to replace the truck we lost in the fire at the transfer station. It's a very small tractor trailer engine with a one-man seat and a door in the rear, so he can just operate better like that than a big full truck like we have. So, any questions?
Did we get reimbursed from when we lost this with the insurance?
We did, but
Okay.
it was a drop in the bucket compared to the cost of what it is to replace.
Okay. Any comments or questions?
None from me.
Mr. Vice Chairman, if I could address that, the reason this credit application is put forward for board approval is because embedded within the credit application is an agreement, and the agreement has certain requirements of the county that I thought should be reviewed and approved by the board. Some of them we can't do. For example, one of the provisions is an indemnification, which we'd have to work with them on. So I just want to clarify that credit applications in and of themselves wouldn't require approval, but because this one had an agreement embedded inside of it, it does. That's what I was before.
Okay.
So I'll say it's been through legal and changes have been made at this
Correct.
point. So,
Yeah,
Okay.
we've changed the agreement part. Correct.
Okay. Thank you for
Thank
that
you.
clarification.
Thank you.
All right. Thank you.
Okay, number 19, approval to award a contract to Intercontinental Commercial Services, Inc. pursuant to solicitation number 24-012 for janitorial services to be performed at the tax, fleet, and property management buildings in the amount of $4,900 monthly, and authorize the chairman to sign all related documents pending final legal review. LaTanya Ammons.
Hi, good morning, Vice Chair, Commissioner Kenna Jones, and to the public and the board. On March the 11th, a solicitation was posted for janitorial services at the Tax Commissioner office, also including the fleet building location and property management. That solicitation closed on April the 8th, and we had 9 companies submit a bid submission that was listed in your package. And so I'm here today to ask if the board will approve a contract with Intercontinental Commercial Services in the amount of $4,900 a month to provide those janitorial services.
Okay. Is this a new company, cleaning company or is it the same that was?
It is a new company.
Okay. All right. Any comments or questions?
What was the prior cost for these services?
The prior cost for the services, approximately $2,100 a month, approximately.
And so is the increase, is that due to inflation? Were the other 9 companies close to this $4,900 amount?
So the other 9 companies in your package, the lowest vendor, well, first this was an RFP, so we evaluated technical first, and then we opened up cost. And so if you look at the cost price breakdown, the vendor that offered the lowest cost, it was only lower for about $400 to $500. They did receive most of the points, and so this was the 3rd lowest, but when we added all the points together, they were the highest scoring.
Okay. Any more questions?
No.
Okay. All right. Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you.
Okay, number 20 is approval of a master lease agreement with the City of Douglasville for rental of event space at the Douglasville Conference Center through December 31st, 2024, and authorize the chairman to sign all related documents pending final legal review. Tiffany Stewart Stanley.
Thank you. Good morning, Vice Chair. Good morning, Commissioner Kenner Jones. We're coming before you today to ask for approval of a master lease agreement with the City of Douglasville. We often rent space from the conference center because it's the one space in Douglas County that's large enough for a lot of the events that we have. And the city is now asking that we enter into agreements for the rental of the space. So we work together to come up with one master agreement that we can do that covers the whole year, the terms of the rental. So this agreement will go from the approval date through the end of the year, and what we would do going forward is sign an agreement every January with the conference center so that we don't have to come before you for every event that we have with the City of Douglasville. So we're just asking for approval. Thank you. I'll yield for any questions.
Is there a cost for this?
So there is a cost for us to rent the conference center. It just depends on if we're renting the ballroom, the meeting room, but it is standardized in the contract. We do get a rate reduction, but it is a cost just depending on what space we need.
Okay. Any comments or questions?
No.
Okay. All right. Thank you.
Okay, number 21, reapproval of issuance of bonds by the Douglas County Housing Authority for TEFRA. Attorney Coleman.
Mr. Vice Chairman, Commissioner Kenner Jones, this is a technical reapproval being required pursuant to the Tax Equity Finance Reinvestment Act. It is with respect to a bond issue that was done by the Housing Authority of Douglas County with respect to a community called the Preserve. The bond issue was done, the county previously approved the TEFRA hearing as a result of that bond issue, but now that they're about to shift from a temporary loan to a permanent loan, and it's going to cause some adjustment in the payment schedule, which requires a technical new TEFRA hearing. Even though the bonds are not really being reissued, they are being reissued technically. They had to have a new TEFRA hearing, and requires a new approval by the board and signed by the chair. There is no obligation whatsoever on the county with respect to this bond issue. We're not issuing the bonds, we're not guaranteeing them, and in no way does approval of the TEFRA hearing impose any liability on the county. So I think that's what this approval is.
Okay. Any comments or questions?
No.
Okay. All right. Thank you.
Okay, that concludes the agenda.
Okay. Is there a need to, Attorney Coleman, do we need to go into executive session?
I'm going to answer that question, yes, even though technically this not being a formal meeting, we don't really have to have executive session, but I'm going to answer yes, since we do have to have a discussion in private about an item. No vote will be taken, but I would like to say yes.
Okay. All right. Then we will now adjourn into executive session, and then upon the completion of executive session, this work session will be over. Adjourned.
It's, for the record, it's for personnel purposes.
Personnel.